Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it. I want to start by wishing my wife, Melania, a very happy birthday. It'd be nice to be with her, but I'm at a courthouse for a rig trial. It's a rig trial. Terrible. But we're doing very well in this rig trial. Everybody knows it.
Wow, yeah. It must be really hard to be away from your wife on her birthday while you're stuck in court. Hey, remind us, Donald, why are you on trial right now? Might it have something to do with the fact that while Melania was at home, you had multiple affairs, including with Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal, and then in an effort to hide those affairs and keep them quiet so they wouldn't hurt you during the 2016 election, you falsified business records to hide the hush money payouts from the American people. So, I don't know, maybe not the best moment to try and use Melania to curry sympathy from people, because simply enough, if you weren't screwing porn stars and playmates, you would be at home with your wife right now.
It's definitely important that we don't become desensitized to the absolute absurdity of this. I think the majority of Americans, I mean, we know if you look at the last few elections, the majority of Americans are Democratic voters. The majority of voters are Democrats. And I think they look at this and they see a person who engaged in ridiculous, inappropriate conduct and is being held accountable for it. I don't think we should lose sight of also that this is the so-called family values candidate that is on trial for reportedly sleeping with an adult film actress while his wife was at home pregnant with his child. That is the family values candidate, and the so-called law and order candidate is the one that's the first former president to ever face criminal charges. I think most people see it. I think most people see that his conduct is unacceptable and that he's being held accountable for it.
Of course, Trump will leverage anyone to whine about this trial. Just last week, he used his son.
So thank you very much. We had some amazing things happen today. As you know, my son is graduating from high school, and it looks like the judge will not let me go through the graduation of my son, who's worked very, very hard. He's a great student. I'm very proud of the fact that he did so well. I was looking forward for years to have graduation with his mother and father there, and it looks like the judge isn't going to allow me to escape this scam. It's a scam trial. If you read all of the legal pundits, all of the legal scholars today, there's not one that I see that said this is a case that should be brought or tried. It's a scam. It's a political witch hunt. It continues, and it continues forever. And we're not going to be given a fair trial. It's a very, very sad thing.
First of all, to broadcast just how full of it Trump is, the judge literally hadn't even ruled on whether or not Trump could attend Barron's graduation. But Trump was so desperate to frame himself as the victim that he was already exploiting his son to curry pity for himself. Second, if Judge Merchan does rule that Trump can't attend, maybe Donald will explain to his son that he was busy sleeping with other women and paying them off for their silence and then cooking the books to cover up those payments, and that's why he won't be able to attend the graduation. Because as far as I can tell, this isn't Judge Merchan's fault, it's Trump's. And finally, again, even if Merchan does rule that Trump can't attend, yeah, dude, that's how it works. When you commit crimes and you have to stand trial for them, you sacrifice other things in your life that might also be important. That's perhaps a reason not to commit crimes. But he's not going to curry sympathy from the judge because he has other obligations when he decided to break the law. Maybe next time, Trump should think about what he'll have to sacrifice by virtue of his criminal activity, and that will perhaps be a reason to not do it. And when he's not using Melania or Barron as part of his pity parties, it's this excuse.
This is what took me off and takes me off the campaign trail, because I should be in Georgia now. I should be in Florida now. I should be in a lot of different places right now campaigning, and I'm sitting here. And this will go on for a long time. It's very unfair.
That he's stuck in the courtroom and not on the campaign trail. Well, Donald Trump has Wednesdays off from court, so you would think that after all this complaining that he can't be in Georgia or North Carolina or Florida, he would spend his Wednesday mingling with voters, right? Not so much. Here's what Trump did on Wednesday this week. That's right, he was golfing. No voters in sight, just Donald Trump secluded on the golf course only days, mere days after he whined in public that he wouldn't have any time with his supporters who he clearly cares so much about. It's almost like, and I hope you're sitting down for this, Trump is just grasping for straws and looking for literally any excuse not to be in the courtroom. And by the way, even if Trump actually did want to go to campaign in Georgia or Florida or North Carolina, it's worth repeating this point. If you want a clear schedule, don't commit crimes. It is not the judge's problem that you can't do things that someone who is not a criminal defendant can do. If you want full freedom to live your life, then don't commit felonies, and you'll have no problem. But Trump, who I should remind you is a grown-ass man, made the conscious decision to break the law, and now comes the part where he's held accountable for it, which shouldn't be a foreign concept for someone who leads the political party that brands itself the law and order party. And yet, here we are. Or finally, at the very bottom of the list of desperate excuses, there's this.
So we have another day of court in a freezing courthouse. It's very cold in there, on purpose, I believe. They don't seem to be able to get the temperature up. It shouldn't be that complicated, but we have a freezing courthouse, and that's fine. That's just fine. Let them keep handing it out. There's a rigged trial.
That it's too cold. I mean, my God, is there anything this guy won't complain about? And I'm sorry, but this is the Republican strongman? This is the alpha, tough guy, get him in the room with the world's autocrats? The guy complaining that he's too chilly? Didn't he grow up in New York? Pretty sure Manhattan in December or January is colder than a courthouse in April, unless of course you're a pampered prima donna who never has a moment of discomfort, something all of Trump's supporters should probably remember the next time he tries to frame himself as a man of the people. This guy is so insulated from real America, from real life, from the discomforts of everyday life, that in the single instance that he's not surrounded by luxury, he melts down like a Kardashian who broke a nail. So look, Donald Trump will whine and complain, he'll stomp his feet and throw his temper tantrums, but no one forced him to make illegal campaign contributions to Stormy Daniels to keep their affair quiet so it wouldn't hurt his chances of running for office and then cook the books. That was him. Just like no one asked him to call Georgia's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger to conjure up 11,780 non-existent votes. No one asked him to steal classified documents from the White House and lie about having already returned them. No one asked him to falsify business records and issue false financial statements and engage in bank and tax fraud in New York. He did all of those things on his own. So if he's being prosecuted now, Donald Trump has no one to blame but himself. And the fact that I have to explain that to the leader of a party that brands itself the party of personal responsibility really puts the hypocrisy on full display. So at this point, there is nothing that Trump can do to avoid sitting in the courtroom. But if he's suddenly so concerned about being a good husband and a good father, maybe actually try being a good husband and a good father. Of course, we all recognize that that's not what he's trying to do. He's simply exploiting his family members to try and curry sympathy and donations from the rubes who buy his sob story. He's made a career conning his contractors, his employees, his friends, his aides, his associates, his cabinet members, his supporters, and he's using his own family to do more of the same. The problem here isn't everyone else, it's Trump. Before you go, I need some help. Please subscribe to this channel and do your part to help grow the progressive media ecosystem. I don't do sponsorships or paid ads, I won't ask for money, but just subscribing to this channel goes a really long way, and it helps get the message out to more people. The subscribe button is right here on the screen. You can also subscribe to my Spanish language channel, which I made to reach those crucial Spanish-speaking voters. That link is on the screen too. And finally, if you want to listen to my audio podcast, you can follow that link as well. Thanks so much for watching.